Good morning, students. Science is a very interesting subject, isn't it? But how many of you like physics very much? I'm sure not many of you. Physics is a bit difficult subject, isn't it? Am I right? Today's lesson is about Albert Einstein. I know you all are familiar with this name. He is the world's greatest scientist. Not only the greatest scientist, but a visionary who is known for his theory of relativity. The lesson is A Truly Beautiful Mind, where you will find that this scientist was not only known for his scientific skills but also for his wonderful understanding, wonderful thinking, and his beautiful mind. So, in this lesson, we are going to know about his achievements, his contribution to the world. So let us see the next one, where I'll discuss about the theme of this lesson. And the theme is this brief sketch of the life and achievements of the great genius Albert Einstein reveals that extraordinary personalities with exceptional intellectual capabilities are not necessarily not noticed during the early years. Means a child cannot be assessed that how he would be in his later years. As a scientist, his marvelous discoveries created a revolution, and as a human being, he worked towards peace and democracy in the world. He is known for his outstanding discoveries and inventions, and that brought a revolution. But as a human being, he is a wonderful person. He worked a lot for the peace and democracy of the world. And next is the message. What is the message you get from this lesson? A beautiful mind possesses not only innovative ideas but also makes sincere efforts to use these ideas for the well-being of mankind. So, a mind which is beautiful does not only have the beautiful ideas, but that mind incorporate those beautiful ideas for the well-being of mankind, then only that mind is beautiful. Now I would like you to open your book and go through the lesson. A truly beautiful mind. Before you read, who would you or who do you think of when you hear the word genius? Who is a genius? What qualities do you think a genius has? Yes, children, who is a genius? Genius is one who had extraordinary or who have extraordinary qualities. We shall now read about a young German civil servant who took the world by storm about 100 years ago. In the summer of 1905, the 26-year-old published in quick succession 4 groundbreaking papers about light, the motion of particles, the electrodynamics of moving bodies, and energy. His work took up only a few pages in scientific journals, but changed forever our understanding of space, time, and the entire cosmos. This young man, whose publishing of things in quick succession, or publishing of papers in quick succession about light, the motion of particles, electrodynamics of moving bodies, and energy were outstanding. Really brought a revolution. He had transformed completely the things which existed in this cosmos. And that transformation, the name Einstein into a synonyms for genius. 50 years after his death, Albert Einstein's genius still reigns. Whatever he presented, whatever he contributed to the world of science still exists, and 50 years after his death, Albert Einstein's genius still exists. Means his contributions still exist. So many theories are related, are based, so many things are based on his theory of relativity. Let us see the first stanza. Albert Einstein was born on 14 March 1879 in the German city of Ulm, without any indication that he was destined for greatness. He was a normal child, and at that small age, nobody could predict whether he was going to be the greatest scientist of the world. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. Note down this word, freak. His mother thought that Albert was not so normal like other child. Means he was unusual in his behavior. To her, his head seemed much too large. To her, means according to his mother, he possessed a big head. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. He was unable to speak at the age of 2.5. When he finally did learn to speak, he uttered everything twice. This was considered as abnormality for a small child who started speaking but spoke or used to speak the things twice. Einstein did not know what to do with other children, and his playmates called him Brother Boring. He was named Brother Boring by his friends. Why? Because he could not socialize with them. He did not like friends, maybe. He could not feel comfortable in the company of his playmates or classmates or his friends. So the youngster played by himself. So he was all alone because he was unable to socialize. Most of the time he lived alone. He had no friends. So he was all alone much of the time. He especially loved mechanical toys. Since he used to alone, or used to like, or used to be alone in his childhood, he played with mechanical toys. Looking at his newborn sister, Maja, he is said to have said, "Fine, but where are her wheels?" When he looked at his newborn sister, whose name was Maja, he immediately asked, "Where are her wheels?" Means he thought that she also was a toy, a mechanical toy. So he wanted to see the wheels of that newborn baby. So this was his thinking. A headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession would not matter because he'll never make a success at anything. This was the statement of his headmaster. Hmm. That what profession he chose, that did not matter much. Why? Because he was not going to be a successful mm, person. Means whatever profession he would choose, he won't be, or he would not be successful in that. He would not have a successful professional life. Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. At the age of 6, he started learning to play the violin, and soon he became a gifted amateur violinist. Means he was not a professional violinist, but he became very famous. He was an expertise in that. Means he developed that skill at the age of 6. So this is the capability of a genius. But Albert Einstein was not a bad pupil. He was not a bad student. He went to high school in Munich, where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old and scored good marks in almost every subject. He went to high school in Munich and he scored very good marks in almost every subject. Einstein hated the school's regimentation. What he did not like in the school, that was the discipline. Discipline means taken to this extreme, means excessive discipline. He hated in that school and often clashed with his teacher, and because of that he used to have arguments with his teachers. He did not agree with them, and because of that, what happened to him, you just see, at the age of 15, Einstein felt so stifled there that he left the school for good. He was so suffocated, he felt so suffocated at the age of 15 in that high school that he left the school forever. So what was the reason of his leaving the school? The reason was the school's regimentation, the strict discipline, the strictness towards discipline, which he did not like, and he often had disagreement with his teachers. So he left the school forever. The previous year, Albert's parents had moved to Milan and left their son with relatives. Now he started living with his relatives. After prolonged discussion, Einstein got his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland, in a city which was more liberal than Munich. He had a prolonged discussion with his parents and he presented himself, or presented his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland, where that extreme discipline was not there. People were more liberal. The school rules and regulations were not so strict. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics and interested in physics. He was a gifted person, there is no doubt about it. And he was gifted especially in mathematics and interested in physics. And after finishing school, he decided to study at a university in Zurich. But science wasn't the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with the walrus nose. This was his physical appearance. He used to have walrus moustache. So science was not the only subject which appealed to him. hence he was interested in. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student. He was not only interested in science subject. On contrary, he was attracted towards his fellow student, Mileva Maric, whom he found to be a clever creature. This young sir had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. He was attracted towards this fellow student. She was very intelligent, and she also came to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Those days, women were not allowed to get higher degrees. This prevailed everywhere in the world, except some places, except some universities where women could go for high degrees. So here she came to get higher education, receive higher education. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines. What did he find different in Mileva? He found that she was against Philistines. Philistines means, this is not about the inhabitants. This word is used here, which means about people who do not like art, literature or music. So he saw in her an ally against the Philistines. He saw in her a friend or an associate against those people who do not like art, literature or music. Those people in his family and at the university with whom he was constantly at odds. With such people, Einstein had a disagreement. He also did not like such people. And with the same mindset, he found this woman whose name was Mileva. So there was a proper mental match. That's why he took interest in her. And what happened later on? The couple fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words, mixing science with tenderness. So both of them came close, started writing letters to each other in which they describe their feelings using scientific words. Wrote Einstein, "How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." He found a friend who would help him to bring his dreams come true, to bring his work to be published in a very successful manner. So he wrote that, "I would be very happy and proud when both of us would bring our work on relativity successfully." And then in 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. He completed his graduation in 1900 and he was unemployed. He did not get a job. He worked as a teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902. After 2 years, he secured a job, and those 2 years he gave private tuitions to students. And in 1902, he got the job of a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's inventions, Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. So, the job which he got was not very satisfying to him. He was supposed to assess other people's inventions. Besides doing that, he was actually developing his own paper, his own ideas, very secretly. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Mark this line, the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. So secretly he was developing his ideas, and he was writing his papers on different theories or the theory of relativity, and using his desk drawer as a place or a chest for keeping his materials. So his desk drawer is called a Bureau of Theoretical Physics. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. In 1905, his famous paper was published, and that was Special Theory of Relativity, where he presented that time and distance are not absolute. Means time and distance are not in relation to anything else. Time and distance are not in relation to anything else. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. So he gave the example that two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the similar time when they travel together, where one has been moving very fast relative to the other. Means the speed of the travel of one of the clocks is faster than the other. And from this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy, where he presented E is equal to mc squared. In this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for the speed of the light in a vacuum. So this is the relationship between mass and energy he has presented. Means when mass of anything cannot be seen when the light travels. Means the light is very fast. The travel of light is the speed of light is very fast. So mass of anything cannot be seen. It is invisible. Here he has given a very funny example, but it is actually right also. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. Means how time flies when the situation is very wonderful, when you have a good company, or when you are in a good company. The time flies very fast. Hence, the speed of the time cannot be judged. It appears as if it is a very small span of time. But when you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. When that situation is not comfortable, when you don't have a proper company, you cannot get the warmth and affection in that company. it appears to be 2 hours for you. That 2 minutes appear to be 2 hours. And that's relativity. This is how he defined. So that is the biggest contribution of Einstein to the world of science, theory of relativity. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. He was a very skilled, he was a very wonderful scientist. So here his life has been presented as a means his private life is not was not very successful as his professional life. While he was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Means his personal life was going to fall or starting to fail. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. His mother did not like. Why? She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was older than Einstein. That was one of the reasons why his mother did not like her. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. Second reason was that Mileva was also highly intelligent. So Einstein's mother said that she is a book like you, means she is as intelligent as you are. So she will also be involved in her research work, in publishing her papers like you. So what about your personal life? She was bothered about that. That's why she did not like her. So Einstein did not marry at that moment. He put the wedding off. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had 2 sons. But after a year, he got married and they had 2 sons. But a few years later, the marriage faltered. The marriage was not successful after a few years. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. This is quite natural for any woman. When a woman is running a family life, she cannot devote time for her intellectual work because she has to look after her family. She gives priority to her family life. This is what happened with Mileva. So she started losing her intellectual ambition and started becoming unhappy being a housewife. This is quite obvious. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. Finally, the couple divorced. But Einstein did not remain alone. He married his cousin Elsa the same year. Einstein's new personal chapter decided with his rise to world fame. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. Now, general theory of relativity interprets gravity, which came to the world in 1915, which was published in 1915. A New Theory of Gravity, where he said an eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. When an eclipse of the sun in 1919 happened, that proved his interpretation of gravity, which he calculated in advance, where he presented that the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. Means the light from the stars changed direction in the sun's gravitational field. This is what he presented in that general theory of relativity. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution, and this brought a revolution in the world of science, and this came to all the newspapers. His work was acknowledged by the world. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. He got Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921 at such a small age, and he was a man of a figure, he was a man of honor. He was a man of achievements. He was a man of honor and achievements, and everywhere he was invited for his great work. He was lauded by the press as well. When the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, Einstein emigrated to the United States. He went to United States. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. When he shifted to United States after 5 years, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. There was complete commotion in American physicists when the nuclear fission in Berlin happened. Means there was split in nuclear discovery. The discovery of nuclear fission means when the nuclear fission was discovered in Berlin, that brought a great commotion in American physicists. Many of them had fled from fascism just as Einstein had, and now they were afraid the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. So many physicists ran from there as Einstein did, and now they were all afraid that Nazis would be the first to build and use an atomic bomb. At the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August 1939, in which he warned a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. So he was insisted by his colleagues to write a letter to the then American President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he wrote where he mentioned that a single bomb, a single nuclear bomb, if exploded in a port, not only will destroy the whole port together, but some of the surrounding territory as well. His words did not fail to have an effect. So whatever he mentioned as a warning or as a suggestion was not taken into account at that moment of time. The Americans developed the atomic bomb in a secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. So it was not taken into account, his suggestions or his warning, whatever you can say. Instead, the Americans developed the atomic bomb very secretly and they dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is known to everyone what happened to that country. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction that devastated both the cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, completely. And this brought a great setback to Albert Einstein. He was deeply shaken. This time he wrote a public missive to the United Nations. He wrote a letter, especially you can say an official or a long letter to the United Nations, to the UN. In it he proposed the formation of a world government, where he had a proposal that there should be a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. This letter also did not have any effect or any impact on the then leaders of the world. But over the next decade, Einstein got more involved in politics. So he started involving himself in politics, agitating for an end to the arms build-up and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. Why he got himself involved in politics? What was the reason behind that? The reason was he did not want that such project should continue. Means building of nuclear bomb should be continued and countries are free, or countries would be free to use it according to their own wish. So he wanted to campaign for peace and democracy in the world. That's why he joined politics. This shows that Einstein was a great humanitarian. He advocated for peace and democracy in the world. He was a great visionary, which is mentioned in the last stanza. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. Means here, when he died, he was acknowledged as a visionary, as a person who worked for mankind, and he was also celebrated as world citizen as much as a scientific genius. He was not only known for his scientific skills, for his scientific contribution to the world, but also a man who advocated for the mankind, for peace and democracy in the world, not only in one country. But this kind of a great man was Albert Einstein. So children, you read about him again and again, and here you note down the dates and years when he got different awards or achievements, when he was acknowledged. That is very important. Okay, so read the lesson again and go through my interpretation as well, and try to complete the exercises, small exercises of the lesson in the book itself with pencil. In the next class, we'll discuss about the questions, and I'll give you the assignments like small questions, long questions. Okay, that's all. Thank you.